This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, let's talk Saturday night's main event. A show that felt like it kind of delivered on what we thought it would. Although we did set, most of us, I think, set the bar a little bit low. So exceeding expectations isn't a huge task. But overall, I will say this. I thought it was a decent event. For one that is not one they do every year. For the kind of old school feel they tried to have for this show, bringing back Jesse the Body Ventura for commentary. He's got such a great voice for commentary, even all these years later. Was he 70 now? He's got a great voice for it. Still on the ball. I like Jesse. I really do. Despite what he's done outside of the ring, and if you like his career outside of it, I'm focusing specifically on wrestling. Yes, he looked 100 years old out there, but I think he did a very nice job for not really being in commentary for I don't know how long. Really nice. And it brought me back, those older fans out there, brought me back to the Vince McMahon, Jesse Ventura days, or Jesse Ventura, I don't care how you pronounce it. But it did have that old school feel, and I like that. So I appreciated that. The referees wearing the traditional old school attire from 40 years ago, I like that. It's a nice touch. If you're going to go Saturday night main event, they went Saturday night main event, and I thought it was well done. Again, no big surprise returns. Not everything was good, okay? And this was not an event that we're going to be talking about forever, although Kevin Owens did give you something to talk about post-main event. And we'll talk about that with him pile driving Cody Rhodes. And what do you call that? It's not a traditional pile driver. It's like a package pile driver. I'm not sure what you call it, but either way, still a pile driver. Kevin Owens pile driver happy. And after the event, of course, we had also Triple H get in the face of Kevin Owens. That video is going viral as WWE expected and wanted. Really just a nice touch at the end of the show. And yeah, Kevin Owens didn't win, but boy, people are talking about him. And if they wanted that to be the goal, I think they achieved it. Kevin Owens not winning is not a surprise to absolutely anyone, but it was about what do they do afterwards with him, and it seems like this program is going to continue. You'd expect that Randy Orton's going to make an appearance prior to the Royal Rumble and go after Kevin Owens for what he did, and now Cody Rhodes is maybe, quote-unquote, on the shelf from the pile driver. But we'll see. I just love this vicious version of Kevin. And we'll talk more about that in detail. I'll go over the match a little bit more in detail as the show progresses here. But I want to invite all of you first and thank all of you first for those of you who have joined me over the last several days in preparation for Saturday Night Main Event, or you just somehow stumbled upon our show. I do appreciate it. We have a show dropping about 5 days a week. Whether it's nostalgic, whether it's NXT or WWE, or rather Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, Mailbag, that kind of thing, and more shows are being added soon. So pay attention to that. If you want to join Patreon, and the way to go ad-free is Patreon or Apple Podcasts, click the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, or just go to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Get yourself an ad-free experience right there. Alrighty. Let's dive into Saturday night's main event. I'm going to start here with the top of the show. And we had Joe Tessitore spoke. He was speaking while shots aired of Cody, Kevin, and several others. And Jesse the Body Ventura was introduced. And then fans were shown outside the building. And said Joe Tessitore said there was a retro feel with New Age superstars. That's not a prepared line. Anyway, we had old television clips shown from old Saturday Night Main Event shows, which was nice. And then Pyro came off, and we had Jesse Body Ventura and Joe Tessitore. And Ventura questioned whether Cody was actually the son of Dusty, and then compared the difference in their abdominal muscles. Kind of weird. Pat McAfee then, of course, came out, if you didn't already know, and he slapped hands with the fans and greeted Michael Cole and said they would be together when Raw debuts on Netflix on January 6th. And McAfee said it was an honor to be there live on NBC. And Cole said live from New York, and McAfee said, it's Saturday night main event. All right. A lot of pomp and circumstance here. A lot of just kind of production. A lot of hype here for the show. But, hey, this felt like a sprout out of nowhere PLE. I know it was on the schedule, but I know a lot of us, including myself, kind of forgot about it until it's like, oh, that's right. It doesn't just go from, the last PLE here to the Rumble. It's now this intermission Rumble or intermission PLE with the Saturday Night Main Event. But we get Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. And this was a fun match. I thought it was well paced. It was a little quick for my taste because I know that these two are capable of more. 10 minutes. That's all they got. But it's what we expected. It was the right move for McIntyre to get the victory here with a Claymore, and the finish was McIntyre being counted down. He went for a Claymore. Sami caught him with a kick, and then Zayn followed up with a Blue Thunder Bomb. Really nice near fall here. And then Zayn set up for a Helluva Kick. McIntyre rolled to ringside. Then Zayn followed McIntyre to the floor, but McIntyre returned to the ring. And when Zayn returned to the ring, that's when he caught Zayn with a Claymore and got the 1, 2, 3. And Cole did say, interestingly, because he always has these awesome stats that no one ever really thinks about, but I do appreciate very much. And he said that Zayn has never beaten McIntyre in a singles match. Never. Now, not that these two have had, 100 matches, but those kinds of things are fun stats that fans aren't thinking about. All right. So Drew McIntyre gets the victory. Again, the way to go is McIntyre. I had a reaction video on YouTube to this, to the whole F the fans or F you from bringing me on. I'm taking from the business. I'm tired of giving. That whole interview he did on the Busted Open podcast that went viral. I had a reaction to that. I put it on YouTube. And I still believe that could be a really fun launching point for Drew in this next chapter of his career. And I also appreciate him coming back and not just being, even though he was successful as a heel and was going down a really fun path that not a lot of heels do, which is just being a truth teller, he took it a step further and went darker, but yet kept the foundational piece of him being a truth-telling heel that just beats you or walks into luck, doesn't always need to cheat to win. I'm just a bad guy that also is really good in the ring. WWE oftentimes forgets that. Oftentimes it's, I need to cheat to win, that's why I'm a heel. It's like, no, I'm just a bad guy that also can kick your ass. Makes it a lot easier to hate that person. So, good stuff here. Sami had to lose. It would have made no sense otherwise. Let's continue. Liv Morgan with Raquel and Dominic versus Io Sky with Kairi Sane and Dakota Kai. Damage Control not dissolved. That's been confirmed. I was hoping by this PLE maybe they would have kind of moved on from one another. Not the case. Damage Control is still a thing. I don't know why. Well, actually I do. Because they have nothing else for these women to do. Specifically Kairi Sane and Dakota Kai. They don't know what to do with them. This group has a net negative momentum. They don't have any. Io Sky is the bright light right now of the trio, but I refuse to call them the Damage Control because the Damage Control group should have died about 2 years ago. All right, well, let's continue here. We had a fun match. Again, this one was a little bit short too, but 9 minutes and 5 seconds. And Liv does retain against Io Sky, and here's the finish. We had Sky delivering double knees to Morgan in the corner. Io went up top and went for her over the moonsault finish, but Morgan put her feet up, and then Morgan, who did have a legitimate bloody nose, followed up with Oblivion and got the victory. So Liv Morgan, victorious here in a fairly straightforward I beat you match. No weird hocus pocus or outside interference for the most part here, at least in the finish. And that's a good thing. Now, was this Io Sky's most impressive match? No. I actually did expect a little bit more from this match. It wasn't bad at all. I think that both women kicked ass in this match. But Io seems to get better as the match goes on. And when you only give 9 minutes, it's tough to tell a really good story. And you can do it. But with Io and with others, her style, I think, does benefit from a longer match. 15 minutes, I think, even 5 minutes longer to make it a 15-minute match would have made all the difference here. But it was fine. Liv Morgan beating Io was the right move, but I remember in my predictions, I did say, Io Sky, you could make a good case for her right now to win. The fans are behind her. She's a believable babyface right now. She hasn't had much to say as of late, but boy, when she gets in the ring, you're just, a lot of times going, wow, why aren't they doing more with this woman? Can't tell you how many times she gets in the ring and you're just like, she's kind of like if she was forever anyway, in Damage Control, the background character, the extra. And then when she got in the ring, you're like, whoa, why are we not getting this on at least a semi-regular basis, right? It doesn't make sense. So hopefully they do more with Io, and Liv has been obviously having the career of her, or the year of her career, I should say. All right. Well, that wasn't the end of it, because we then had Rhea Ripley's music hit, and she comes out and comes face to face with Morgan, who held the title up, and that was kind of it. Now, Ripley here doing what she's been doing really for like 3 months now is just interrupting Liv or after the match or what. Like, that's just Rhea Ripley lately. I feel like she's just got her formula of making an entrance, and that's it. Now, I have no problem with her making an appearance on the Saturday Night Main Event. In fact, it makes sense. She's a big name, right? One of the faces of the women's division. I would argue even this is saying a lot, but I think it's true, one of the faces of the company, not just the women's division. She's a big star right now. So having her on this show definitely didn't hurt. Only issue I have, because you knew there was going to be another side of the coin here, when she came out, when Rhea Ripley came out to interrupt Liv Morgan's celebration as she was heading down the ramp to the backstage area, we have the typical Liv Morgan concerned face, and we have Rhea Ripley, who, this is the part that really irked me. She comes out and does her performative entrance as if it's some kind of community theater act. Not that her entrance is amateur, but sometimes you need to read the room when it makes sense to do all of these choreographed moves during your entrance. And in this case, it looked very presentational and not realistic. That's the best way I can put it. What am I talking about specifically? When Rhea Ripley comes out and she has to stomp her foot perfectly to her music, which is fine in her regular entrance, but Liv Morgan's like 10 feet from her. And then she does this kind of, I know you're about to zoom into my face, so I'm going to give you the little look through my hair. It felt very produced. It felt very unnecessary. I know it's a small thing, but some of you may also be watching and thinking the same thing. Maybe your mind is as broken as mine. I don't know. But when she did that, I'm like, did she stomp on her foot? And then she does her little, like, stare down at the floor and then look through her hair like she's on a movie set. It's like, I don't know. I those things take me out of the moment, and I hate being taken out of the moment. Did it ruin my night? No. Did it ruin the match with Liv? No, it did not. Liv and Io, I think, did a fine job. And I hope, here's what I hope, beyond all the nonsense here. Rhea and Liv need to wrap this up. It needs to be wrapped up. I'm ready, right? I'm sure the rest of you guys are ready. It's time. Where do they do it? I mean, I guess it could be ended in 6 weeks at the Royal Rumble. Because don't forget, Royal Rumble, guys, is in February. It's the the first weekend in February? It might be the first, second, something like, whatever the first Saturday falls on the in February. That's when the Rumble is. So maybe they can push it out another 6 weeks. I think they probably will. But regardless, I'm ready for Rhea to stop interrupting Liv and Liv stop playing scared and jumping on Rhea's back. And the match, when they have a match, it's fine. And the story did warrant it with Dominic turning on Rhea and the betrayal, all of it. And Rhea taking out, Liv taking out Rhea to injury that put her on the shelf, taking her world championship, infiltrating the Judgment Day. It was all a great story. But that feels like now a million years ago, and it's time. I'm ready to move on in whatever their finale match is. Now, the question beyond that, as we continue to kind of prognosticate outwards, is when this inevitable match happens with Liv and Rhea, does Rhea actually recapture? That's something I was thinking about too when I was watching these two. Beyond, oh my God, we're going back here again and again. But cool. When they link up again, is it time to finally put the belt back on Rhea? Maybe. It's definitely not a slam dunk. Whenever these two go back, what do they call it? Circle back or take it back one more time. I'm ready for the match, but also it's possible that Rhea wins. So those of you who are Liv Morgan fans may want to get your viewing in and your enjoyment in, and while she's champion, because I don't think, here's what I will say, I do not think Liv Morgan makes it past WrestleMania as champion. There's almost no chance. All right. So we then have Damian Priest comes out, and Cole noting that Priest is a New York Yankees fan, and he told him to boo-hoo regarding his Mets signing Juan Soto. See, guys, even the announcers, those of you that are complaining, I talk about baseball sometimes, or I talk about things non-wrestling. Well, you have people who are actually employees of the company on a international broadcast bringing up things that are professional sports and not related to pro wrestling. Okay, it does happen occasionally. So if you want to knock on me, well, I guess then you may have to hold that same standard to Michael Cole, the voice of the company, who did the same thing on a PLE. All right, so that was great. I mean, but it's true. I already went over my thoughts on the Yankees losing Soto. If you want to listen to it, it's on my previous show, I believe. All right. Gunther versus Finn Balor versus Damian Priest, a triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship. And again, this is a match that I think a lot of people had high expectations for. One that did not also last that long. I don't know, maybe I need to take my expectations down for length of matches from now on, but this only lasted 11 minutes, which, given all the talent in the ring, is a bit mind-blowing. However, here's the finish for those that are interested in it and my take on the finish. We had Balor go up for coup de grace on Priest. Gunther crotch tops him on the top turnbuckle. Gunther went to the ropes. Priest got up and hit Gunther with a razor's edge. And then Balor hit Gunther with a coup de grace and had the pin, but Priest broke it up. And then Priest set up Balor for a razor's edge, but Balor countered into a pin for a near fall. And then here's the final moments. Priest hits Balor with South of Heaven and had him beat, but Gunther pulled Priest to ringside, and then he hit Priest with a powerbomb on the bottom half of the ring steps and returned to the ring and dropkicked Balor, who then hit him with a powerbomb and got the victory. So Gunther retains, as he should have, and as it should have gone with Finn there to take the pinfall. I think this is the right booking, really, from start to finish. No issues. And did you see that spot with the power bomb onto the steps? It almost was disastrous. And had it not been for the strength of Gunther and Priest, who has to hoist himself up, that could have been disastrous or embarrassing. And it really was neither, other than, oh no, botch, no, and no, they got it. Good for them, That's what I saw, or I felt when I saw that. I was a little concerned that, maybe something could happen that would harm, especially Priest, but it didn't. And that was a nice spot. Gunther here getting the victory, continuing his world title reign, is absolutely the right course of action. I have been steadfast on when I feel Gunther should lose it, and it is not even at WrestleMania. I would put it at SummerSlam 2025 at the earliest. You could take his world title reign in there. They're trying to make it 2 nights anyway. Is that happening this year or next year? I think it's next year. That was in Indianapolis, I believe. However, that's the place I would do it, given that right now the SummerSlam PLE is a stadium show now. So a good place to do it. If you want Gunther to lose it on a big stage, but you want to be surprised at WrestleMania and not have every title change hands, that's where you do it, is SummerSlam. I think that's where Gunther probably drops it. Now, there's possibilities of Punk being involved. Maybe Seth gets back involved in that world title scene. But for the most part, I think it's going to be Gunther for the next several months, which is a good thing. I just don't want the cowardly Gunther. I don't need the Gunther being coward, or rather cowering or showing weakness to words. Words by Priest. Okay. Kevin Owens was shown backstage. A crew member knocked on Nick Aldis's door. The SmackDown GM emerged and holding the U.S. Championship, the Women's U.S. Championship. And Joe Tessitore and Ventura spoke from an elevated platform on the main floor, and Jesse said he loves Liv Morgan because he took a shot to the head that would have stopped any normal. She took a shot to the head that would have stopped any normal person, and she still won the match. Yeah, she had like a bloody nose. I mean, she's you got to be tough. You got to just know these things are going to happen. But when it happens, you still got to show, everything you've trained for. Obviously, I don't need to tell anyone that, but you always have to humanize the wrestlers when that kind of thing happens. So, all right. We then had Ventura turn and told the crowd that wrestling is even bigger today than it was 40 years ago. And Ventura told the fans they should be proud of that, and turned things over to Cole and McAfee, who spoke at their desk. Cole said he had a chance to work with Gorilla Monsoon early in his career, and tonight it all comes full circle by working with Jesse the Body Ventura. Now, I don't know if wrestling is bigger now than it was 40 years ago. Yeah, the metrics don't really play that out. In fact, if we want to do just a little bit of research ourselves, back in 1988, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. 33 million people watched. 33 million. Okay. That viewership does not exist for WWE. That's 33 million unique eyeballs, right? That's whole. Remember, 1988, there's not even dial-up internet yet. So you're talking today, some people may say, well, look, there's how many millions of views WWE gets on their YouTube or wherever on TikTok. You also have to keep in mind that that's number one's an aggregate. It's not unique users either, and it's not a single event. When was the last single event that WWE held that was 33 million, more than 33 million viewers? The answer is, I don't think it's happened. So, a little bit of a stat correction there, telling us that wrestling's bigger now. Bigger by what metric exactly? I don't know. So I love you, Jesse. I had to do something. I couldn't be positive the whole night. Okay. Chelsea Green comes out. Highlights of Green's wins in the tournament to reach the finals, which at the time I made this prediction, for some reason, on WWE's own website, there was nothing about a U.S. title matchup, at least from the perspective of, who was going to be in it, because obviously SmackDown hadn't happened yet. So we did get the actual match here for the Women's United States Championship, which was Michin versus Chelsea Green, and Chelsea Green wins in 8 minutes. This is what happened. Niven climbed on the apron, and we then had Chelsea Green knock Michin off the ropes. Michin drop-kicked Niven on the apron and then went back to Green, who slapped her and then jumped off the ropes into a position for an unprettier and got the 3 count. This was a fun moment. Now, there was that spot that Chelsea Green did not sell, or rather, Michin tried to do a kick to the face, and Chelsea Green oversold it like she had been shot. And then at the same time, Cole was saying, and she didn't get all of it because it looked like crap. Yet you had Chelsea Green sell it like $1 million. So that was a little awkward, but hey, I'm happy for Chelsea Green. I am shocked that she won and not Bayley in her match on SmackDown. Bayley continuing to, not fall into obscurity, but I would venture to argue she's on the back half of her career. I really do believe that. I think WWE knows that they helped make Bayley a big star, but she never was quite at the tippy top. When her and Sasha Banks were here, they ran the show. They were triple champions, whatever it was at the time. And that was a fun moment, and had Sasha turn on Bayley and then Bayley's babyface. That was all fun. But that may have been the peak. After that, she's pretty much been at least not a non-factor, but a reduced factor in her division. And I would love to talk to her and get some truth serum as to, hey, listen, what's been going on the last couple of years here? You come back in August of 22, I believe it was, after Bianca Belair had her match. Y'all attack Bianca in the first ever Damage Control presentation. And then after that, you kind of hid behind the Judgment Day. There wasn't a whole lot going on. The group at times felt very disconnected and disjointed. But hey, I just do wonder what is up with Bayley. Just generally, she is not talked about enough. I feel like it's like one of those scenarios where you're thinking maybe her contract could be up very soon, and she's not sure if she's going to resign, so WWE is not putting her in a position to lead the company in any kind of way, especially as an inaugural United States Women's Champion. But I could be totally wrong. Maybe she's fine with the position she's in. I don't know. I don't know her well enough. Most of us don't. So let's continue. Chelsea Green, though, happy for her. It makes total sense. Total sense. Okay. Let's continue. More Raw to Netflix, January 6th hype. Boy, is that going to be a big show. Huge. Huge. We had Hall of Famers Coco Beware and Greg Valentine showing in the crowd. And then we have Cole and McAfee stood up and got applauded. And we then had a video package set up for the main event. So let's continue to that. And we have Cody Rhodes come out. Cody obviously still incredibly over. Just just continues to boggle the mind how fans are still into this guy who has arguably had an extremely boring run since WrestleMania. I mean, just almost a snooze fest. I know that there are some of you out there that love Cody, tired of me complaining about him. Put all that aside. Can anyone objectively tell me, as a Cody Rhodes fan, what do you feel about his run since April? If anybody says it's been exciting, I've loved it, it's been great, I'd love to know what you're basing that on, beyond just trying to annoy me. I don't know how anyone can look at this and go, this is one of the greatest runs. No. It's been actually a very snooze fest run. I don't know, you can't run and have a snooze fest, but you get my drift. It has been very haphazard, very just kind of matter of fact, I think is a better phrase. And yeah, he got the Winged Eagle Championship like we all expected. Fine. I mean, we had the presentation on SmackDown with Triple H showing Cody Rhodes the chest that was apparently glowing. And, whatever. That's part of the production. That would have never happened back in the 90s, at least if it was a serious storyline. But I digress. The last person to hold that, though, before it retired, was Stone Cold Steve Austin in 1998. When he won the belt from Shawn Michaels in Boston at WrestleMania 14. That was the last time that Winged Championship was brought into the television screens, and now we get Cody Rhodes bringing it back. And yes, it's only for one night, which is, I think, a good thing. It's nostalgic. It fit the feel of the event, so I'm not going to get on Cody too much for that. It wasn't his call. Okay. The matchup here, Cody, Kevin, WWE Undisputed Championship, and no Randy Orton. No big return from Randy. I did think he might show up. I didn't predict that in my official prediction show, but given what happened to him with a pile driver, you would think that maybe Randy Orton has something to say, but they're still waiting to have him strike. So let's go. We have, let's see. Oh, okay. I'll pick a couple of spots. I'm not just going to go to the finish. So Owens got Cody up on the broadcast table, but then Cody dropped him with an RKO, which really looked like a stunner. It wasn't the greatest RKO. Then the table didn't break, and Cody rolled Owens back inside the ring, and they ran up the ropes, and Cody hit a Cody Cutter for a near fall, and Owens got the better of the fight when both men ended up on the ropes, and he hit a fisherman's buster for a 2 count. And Owens kicked Cody and set up for the stunner, but Cody countered into setting him up for position to Crossroads. And then Owens shoved Cody into the ref, knocking Robinson out of the ring. And here's the ref bump, guys. Owens hit Cody with a stunner and got a pinfall that you thought could happen, but you knew probably wasn't going to. Eddie Arango, another referee, comes out, second one, and Cody kicks out at 2. We have Cody rally, went up for a Cody Cutter, but Owens moved, and then Cody crashed onto Arango. Second ref bump, because that's just what happens with Cody matches. And that's, let's see here. When Cody did hit the Crossroads 1, 2, 3, he retains. Don't hate the outcome. Would I love to see what a Kevin Owens title run looks like? Yes. I don't know if we'll ever get it in his career. Suffice it to say, he is a veteran. I think he could be the face of anywhere he wants to go, except apparently WWE. But Cody Rhodes held up his own, as he does. Great timing. Great bumps, obviously in incredible shape. And I have really nothing negative to say about inside the match. It's after the match that Cody Rhodes does get plummeted on his skull after he was about to subject us to one of those, crowd-loving, make-out fests that Cody loves to host. And that didn't happen because Kevin Owens interrupted him. And then ended up pile driving Cody, and it was brilliant, beautiful, love it. I have very much high expectations that this is leading to another event with Cody and with Kevin Owens. Maybe it's a triple threat with Randy. Like I said, who knows? But right now we do have the event that they're clearly telling us is not over, and that's Cody, Kevin and Cody. And we'll see how that plays out. But after the match, that did happen. But Triple H comes out, and he is livid at Kevin Owens. This happens after the match, caught on cell phone video, which does have a more authentic, real feel to it. So I do love that piece of production. And whenever they make those decisions, it's always fun. But when he got in the face of Kevin Owens and he's shoving him, and obviously the connection that Cody has with Triple H, the friendship that he has, that is Paul Levesque, Triple H, with Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. So Kevin Owens pile drives two of his best friends, and Triple H is trying his best to put his emotions aside from a personal perspective. And if he didn't have that heart condition, I'd say, here we go. Kevin Owens, Triple H, WrestleMania. But with that heart condition, he's never wrestling again. At least to my knowledge. I'm not a doctor. So if he's not wrestling again, that means nobody's taking a bump even. It's just they'll have to slice each other with words. Words will be their offense of the day because they cannot have anything physical be done to one another because of the limitations of obviously Triple H and his heart condition and everything that went down with him a couple years ago. So overall, guys, I thought it was a decent event. It was an event that took place on a Saturday, so there is that. I thought it was fine. Again, I'd give it a B. It was a B rating. There was a sloppy spot or two, but it happens. No big surprise returns. Just some nice, steady progression forward. And I think we can finally look through the forest here. No more stops along the way. It is all eyes on the Royal Rumble now. All eyes. We can start to think about who could win. We could start to think about who doesn't have a chance, who could return. Big E, is he one of the entrants? I think so. That's my guess. What happens here? It's going to be fascinating as we get closer to the Royal Rumble. It's always one of our favorite events. Everybody seems to have marked it as one of their favorite events, and rightfully so. It's just a genius matchup idea that has ended up getting better with time most of the time. So I think this will be no exception this year. We've got a really, really stacked card that doesn't involve Cody Rhodes in the event, in the Royal Rumble anyway, match itself. So we can start talking about it. Start talking about it for real, because no other events are in our way. It is smooth sailing to the Royal Rumble. And then, of course, beyond that has direct implications to the biggest show of the year in WrestleMania. So a lot to talk about as we move forward here. And I just want to check one more thing with the news of wrestling. No, I'm not going to talk about the drone stuff. Okay. Even though I just did. Maybe I'll talk about that on my separate show, which I call The War on Truth. Maybe I'll do that. I'll post that tomorrow. By the way, guys, I'm going to be doing a couple of things. YouTube is going to have some videos on it, a reaction video, or maybe some more news video on YouTube. And my other show that I do called The War on Truth is going to be another separate feed that I do, and it's going to be hopefully uploaded by tomorrow. A lot of work to do and more to come. So one last thing. I'm just looking at any wrestling news going out here. So Bleacher Report is saying that Cody was hospitalized with a back injury after winning, which obviously is a work. And Liv Morgan was busted open the hard way at the event. And let's see here. It appears she's all right. Her nose was not broken, which is always, it's a good thing. She would have had to miss time. So, nothing major happening here. It's just now time for WrestleMania season. I'm already here, guy. I'm already here. You could say it starts in 6 weeks, but we're on the road that leads to the road to WrestleMania. So by proxy, I'm here. And I think you guys are too. So you want to join me ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast. If you want to go ad-free, you can also hit me up on X at wrestling_audio, or just search the WWE podcast. Give us a follow. Or you can follow us and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, because we do offer an ad-free experience there as well. So I'm going to call it a night. I appreciate everybody for listening. Thank you so much. I'll be back on a Tuesday for your Raw review. And of course, those of you on Patreon, I may be back a little bit sooner. So thanks so much. Talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.